Good morning, everybody. My name is Jan, also known as AVI Designs. Um, welcome to my podcast, Life Live Creatively. This is I guess I'll say first podcast. I tried podcasting a little while ago when my little guy was real little. I want to say I tried, maybe it was a year, under a year. And yeah, it just naps and trying to do in between naps, and it was hard. So I stopped. Only had a couple podcasts out. So yeah, held off for a while. I give people a lot of credit who do it while their little ones are running around. He was very good, but it was still hard. So anyway, now he is in school full time. He's in kindergarten now. And since he started at the beginning of September, I kept saying, okay, I'm going to start my podcast again. Okay, I'm going to start my podcast again. Now I'm into October, and I'm finally saying, okay, that's it. I'm sitting down. I'm doing my podcast. So here we are. Welcome to my little corner of the world. This is my studio, craft space, office, all the above. Yeah. So, I guess I'll go a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Jan. I am a new designer. I recently published my first pattern, and I'll show you that later. Actually, I published it back in July, I think I published it. I'm working on another one, and hopefully be publishing that shortly. What else? As I said, I'm a mom. I have my little man. What else? I'm trying to think of what else to tell you about. I live in Michigan with my husband, and yeah, I think that's about it. I work from home. I do my designs. I'm a VA, virtual assistant, and yeah. So I think that's kind of a little overview about me, introduction. Thank you for joining me. Anybody who stopped in to see my podcast. So, what should I start with? I think I will start with, I do have some show notes, but, just to let you know, I started this podcast just to kind of talk about things I'm working on, what things I've seen, yarn I found, just because I don't really have a knitting community near me. So I thought this was a good way, because I'm always have these 10 million things I want to say, and I see things on Instagram or Ravelry, things like that, and it's like, oh, I should say, and I never answer people. There was somebody I thought I was following forever, and then all of a sudden realized I wasn't following on Instagram, but I watched their podcast all the time. It's like, why wasn't I following on Instagram? Anyway, so this is kind of my way of communicating, talking to other crafters and knitters and designers and that. So, what should I start with? I'm just looking at my where should I start? Well, I know sometimes they start with what we're drinking. This is my coffee. Was my coffee. It's almost gone. And a handmade mug. Over the summer, there was a local arts and crafts show near me. And there was a pottery guild. And I don't know if it says Marshall. So I'm assuming, that's who made it. But it was a hand-done mug. So it's a, not super big mug, but it's a nice size, and I like it for my tea, my coffee. So that is what I'm drinking. It's just coffee, lots of coffee. Yeah. So I think I'll get into. I'm deciding if I want to do what I finished or what I'm working on. I'll do what I finished, and I'm only going to do. I mean, I have so much I've finished in general, but I just do these couple things. It is warm. I was going to wear my knits. The weather can't make up its mind here in Michigan. It is, I think, 70 outside right now. The other day it was cold and rainy and like 40, 50. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, so I do have my window open. I'm sorry if you hear any of the noises. I'm hoping you can't. But anyway, yeah. So the first thing I'm going to show you is I did do the Andrea Maury's Faded Cardi. For a long time, I liked the look of it. I just didn't know if I wanted to do all the colors and the fading, and even though it was beautiful. So I finally gave in, but I only did 2 colors. And I'll show you here. So you can see I only did this blue here. And this is a Madeline Tosh, sorry, gotta get used to a mic being there. A Madeline Tosh sock, and I don't have the ball bands right in front of me. The blue is Wink. So I loved all the shades that were in here. So that's Wink. And then the only other one I did was this gray with the blue speckles. You can kind of see it there. That one was also Madeline Tosh sock. It is called Conference Call. So that is my Faded Cardi sweater. And I love it. I love that, it has the nice collar on it. I could put it on, I guess. Hopefully it's not making a bunch of noise on this microphone. I'll find out later, I guess. But there, so you can kind of see the collar. It's got a real nice collar. Now, I did have to buy, I only used basically 1 skein of the blue and 1.5 of the gray. I really struggled with getting the second skein of gray. Now, for one, where I purchased this, I actually got 3 skeins of the blue and 1 skein of the gray, because that's all they had left was the gray, and I really love them together. I said, I'll see how far I can get, and then I'll decide what I want to do. As I expected, you have the sleeve here. I did go a little long with the sleeve, but I did the sleeve here in the gray to follow. You can see where it fades and then goes in, and then did the cuff. Well, I wear this all the time. Anyway, I got to a certain point, and I said I knew I was going to run out. I wasn't going to have enough of the gray. I knew I was going to run out. So I decided, okay, fine, I'll just have to order it, because I talked it over with my husband. He listens to me. Complaining about my knitting or thinking out ideas. So I kind of mentioned to him, I said, if I don't get the gray, another skein, I'm not going to be happy with it. And I have it. It's actually just over here. But I have quite a bit of the second ball left, and I have still like a skein and a half of the blue, I think. I'm just looking at it. It's over on my shelf. I think it's about a skein and a half of the blue. I'll use it. I'll definitely use it for something. So anyway, so I decided I wasn't going to be happy if I didn't use the gray, if I didn't get more gray, because I wanted the collar, because of this contrast, I wanted the collar to be the gray. Yeah, so that's what I did. I got more of the gray. Sorry, I'm going to take this off because it's warm. It's warm in here. It's like 70 something now, I think. Yeah, so back to this. That's how I faded it. I only did 2 colors, and I'm really happy that I did. I mean, you can kind of see the band there, how I faded it with just the 2 colors. But there was enough colors going on in this blue. I really didn't think I needed any more, and I didn't want to add more. So, yeah. So I finished that, and I keep saying gray because I don't know if you can really tell. I think you can. I think it does pretty good. This is a real light gray with the blue and greens and speckling. So I really liked that. So that was, the yarn was Madeline Tosh sock, and Wink is the blue. Conference Call is the gray. Conference Call is really hard to find. Oh, let's see. What else? I'm just looking what else I have over here. I guess I'll go with my design. Now this is using the Woolen Homestead Hagrid's Happy Hour. Oops, helps if I turn the right way. You can kind of see my design. Now this has been well loved. I wear this quite a bit. But you can see that's the Hagrid's Happy Hour. This is my shawl design. It's pretty, it goes pretty long, more than deep. So, don't want to mess up the microphone, but you can kind of do you can do it this way. You can keep going the way I designed it. You can make it larger if you want to. It's pretty easy to extend. But yeah, so this was my first pattern. It's called Leaves of All Seasons. And yeah, it's just you can kind of see it goes to a point. Goes all the way. Oops, I'll go slower. The leaf design in the middle. And then it goes to a point. So it's a nice collar shawl. And yeah, I was really happy with it. I put this out, I think July. I published it. Sorry, I think there's a truck just outside my house. Or just not too far from me. So that was, yeah. That was the Leaves for All Seasons pattern that I just did. And one of the other finishes, and this isn't out yet, this is a pattern I'm currently working on. And this is Lolo Did It, whatever it is colorway, bourbon. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it at the end. Oh, there, you can see it kind of. Maybe. Thought I could see it. See if I do this. Oh, you can kind of catch the sparkle. This panel here is bourbon and her sparkle base. These are all her sock yarn. And this is a very large shawl wrap. A little bit of the fading into the brown with an accent edge. I'm just sorry, I keep looking down here because I'm looking to see, making sure you can see with the little accent edge. This this design, it's called, the name of my design, I should tell you that, is Blue Jeans and Dirt Roads, or no, I'm sorry, Dirt Roads and Blue Jeans. Reverse my own the name of my pattern. Anyway, it's called Dirt Roads and Blue Jeans. The reason is, when I first saw this on Lolo Did It's website, I'm like, I had to have this one. It just reminded me of my favorite player, Blue Jeans, and then I saw the brown here, the bourbon, and it just, they were a perfect match. They were absolute perfect match. But it very much reminded me of walking around up in northern Michigan. You got the dirt roads, wearing the blue jeans. I did this kind of a mesh lace here. Again, just really reminded me of kind of, well, kind of you got the dirt roads, and then you got the fences, and so that's reminded me of. And then I did this wheat, I call it wheat. I don't remember what the real, if it was fern or wheat design that I used on the end here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's got like a rib in the middle, and these kind of go on an angle. With a little bit of a sparkle, because it reminded me of the wheat that's when the sun hits it out in all the fields up there, and the sun hits and you see it sparkle and glimmer, especially the dew in the morning. So that's why I used a sparkle base for the end, even though it's the same bourbon color, to symbolize the wheat that you'd see out in the fields. So this should be coming out soon, I'm hoping. I'm still working on a few kinks in the writing, but that hopefully will come out soon. And yeah, those are kind of my finished objects. I guess I'll go right into what I'm working on. I'm working on a lot. I'm looking at my stack here. Let's see, what should I start with? Oops. Apologize for that. My computer just made noise. I guess I'll start with this one. This is in my 2 Sticks in You bag, owl bag. Love this bag. And I am currently, and I'll show you the pattern. I have all my patterns here. And watch, the one that I want isn't going to be in here. Because I probably took it out to work on it. Nope, I think I took it out. Okay. It's the Espace Tricot free pattern. It's a cowl. Oh, I can't believe I don't have it here. I always see, I carry around this folder. This folder has patterns I'm working on, want to work on in here. And like I said, I have this one, but I don't have the other one. I wanted to do their turtle dove, so I have that one in here, but it looks like I do not have my other one. Wow, that's not a good way to start our first podcast. Okay. Anyway, so this is the Espace Tricot cowl. Trying to remember what it's called. Can't remember what it's called now. I carry that pattern around with me everywhere because it's one that I'm working on continuously. I'll put it in the down bar of which one it is. Shoot, like I said, it is a free pattern. Now, a little background is I made a flax sweater last year before, somewhere in there, in this green yarn. It was a yarn I had. It's real soft, real squishy. I love the sweater. Problem is, Michigan winters get really cold, and if you know the flax, it kind of comes this way. It's more of almost like a boat neck style, so it comes to about here on me, which is fine, but when it gets cold, then up here is all cold. So I'm like, well, I need a white. I was just going to do white collar of some sort, but nothing was appealing to me because I don't like big collars. I don't like anything setting way up here on me, and I don't like big cowl necks too much. So nothing was appealing to me. And I can't remember if it was watching the Espace Tricot podcast, or if it was a different podcast. It was one of them I was watching. And somebody was making this cowl. And I looked at it and said, oh, that would be perfect, and I can make it as high as I want. So this is it. It's done in 2 pieces. And then you add it together afterwards, and you can see how it fades. Now I have a self-fading yarn, so you can kind of see, but I really worked hard at separating one ball, so I knew where one started, the other one side would start, and they're pretty close. They're pretty close. You know, if you don't say anything, I don't think anybody would really notice that one's slightly different from the other. But what I liked about this is the splits on both sides, as you can see. And I loved that. I really did. I absolutely loved that. Because then it's just, then it can sit right where that opening is. And again, I can make it as high as I want. Right now it's only maybe an inch. I'm just looking here. It's maybe about an inch that I've worked on it. It's very easy, and that's part of the reason I think I don't know where the pattern is. Because it's probably in my other room, and I don't have to look at it. I know what I need to do rest of the way up. It's pretty self-explanatory once you get going. So I'm working on this, and I'm really loving it. I think it'll go really nice with the sweater. I know it's matchy-matchy, and I'm not usually a fan of that, but I'm thinking with this green, it's going to be fine. It's going to be, I'm kind of thinking it'll just look like it's attached, but then I can wear it, just by itself. I can wear it with anything else I have. Yeah, so that's one thing I'm working on. Like I said, I can't believe it's not in my folder. Everything else I have in here, you'd think it would be in here, but it's not. I'm just taking a look here. That's no, it's the other sweater I want to make. I'll probably show you a little bit about what's in here too in a little bit. So put my folder back down. So that's the one thing I'm working on. What else? What else? I think, ooh, but that wasn't really loud in that microphone. I'm still getting used to this microphone. I haven't used it yet. So yeah, still getting used to that. Oh, the yarn I'm using on this one. It's like a Michael's Joann's yarn. My mom had it. I love the color. I've had it sitting here for a while, and it's huge. The ball is literally like this big, and I think she had like 3 of them. Sorry, that's in this cabinet on this side of me. I think she had like 3 or 4 of them, and one ball did the sweater. So I'm going, well, what am I going to do with the rest of this? Actually, I don't know if it took 1 ball. Yeah, it was quite a bit on it. So I said, well, I'll do something with it. I'm going to hold on to it. I'm not going to get rid of it. So sure enough, I used, it was either the rest of that one, because this isn't a whole ball. It might have been the rest from that sweater. This was huge, to make the cowl. And I think it'll pretty much use up what I have. Let me just take a look here, because that's what I got left. So I think it'll pretty much use up what I have. I'm using, oh, I forgot to tell you. I am using, can't read these anymore. Sorry, I'm trying to read what this says. I can't read them anymore. I'll say it's a 5 probably. I use 5s a lot in my patterns. That I didn't do a gauge swatch, just because the way it sits, I didn't think I needed too much in the way of gauge. You can see some of my gauge swatches up here on my board back there. Those are just from designs I have in mind. But so I gauge swatch when I need to, but not always. So, the next thing I'm working on, and I have a lot of stuff on the needles. I just wasn't going to bring it all this time. The next thing I am working on is in this little, cute little bag. I haven't been able to find one. It's a yarn bag. Nice. But I can see it. It's got a nice stretchy tie on it. I found this at like a resale, and I knew what it was for yarn. And it's called Creative Couture, but I haven't been able to find any more. I really like it. It has a nice little hook. I can even stick it on my purse. Anyway, the yarn I have in here is from the Woolen Homestead. It's called, my favorite color is October. And I've had this, I got this maybe 2 years ago. last fall, so a year ago. I picked this up, and I just absolutely loved the colors. I mean, look at all those colors in there. Isn't that beautiful? They are also a husband and wife team, the Wool and Homestead, that just dye up beautiful, beautiful yarn. Also local to me as far as they're in Michigan. And I was originally going to do this for this pattern, which, as I said, this is also Wool and Homestead yarn. Oh, it smells so good. Anyway, Wool and Homestead yarn. Same weight, they're sock weight yarn. And I was going to use this originally. That's why I had purchased them. Oh, the leaves, it'll be beautiful. But every time I would swatch for it just to see how my leaf design would work, and I don't have it up there, there's so much color going on here. It didn't blend well with the leaf. They almost, one was competing too much with the other. So I've just been holding on to it, going, I will make something with this. I will make something with this. And I kept trying to think of like shawls or mitts or something. And it's just, it didn't fit right in my head. It's not what something I really wanted to do with this. So finally I said, you know what? It's sock yarn. I'm going to make socks. I'm going to make socks with it. So I started a pair of socks. And you can kind of see. I got my little, I don't have a fall, like a pumpkin or anything for fall, but I did do a little, see if you can see it. Sorry for my nails. My nails are all a mess. But anyway, it's a little cafe. I'll figure out this camera too. Anyway, little cafe coffee cup. And this time of year we have a Michigan, I don't know if they might be in Ohio too, coffee chain called Bigby. They have, and I think Starbucks has something similar, but it's not the same. It's just not the same for me. But I know everybody's into the pumpkin spice latte. I know everybody's going to fall over. I'm not the fan of the pumpkin spice latte. I like pumpkin spice creamer. That was something I tried last year, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. That's kind of my extent. I don't do the pumpkin spice latte. I'm funny about the strong cinnamon or clove, or I can only do a little bit. I'm just not a big fan of that. So I don't do the pumpkin spice latte, but my fall drink of choice, and Bigby has it, at least I think the best way to do it, is their hot apple cider. Hot apple cider? Hot caramel apple cider. That's what it is. And it's you could get it frozen or whichever way you wanted it, but it is apple cider. I don't know if it's cider. I'm not sure what they use, apple juice, apple cider, and a little bit of, the spice, caramel. So it's like a caramel apple. Then they put some whipped cream on top and drizzle caramel on top, and it's just a little bit of a creamy, cozy feel to it. So that's my drink of choice. Hot, of course. I've never tried it frozen, but you can have it frozen or iced. But that is my favorite. So anyway, so that's what my little, instead of a pumpkin latte, I do a little cafe drink. And then I just started these socks. But what I also decided to do, so I don't know if you can see it too well or not, but I am doing, finally, I've had this saved and everybody keeps talking about it. And I said, I'm going to make this, the Blueberry Waffle Socks. Free pattern by Sandy Turner. So I am doing a blueberry waffle sock. I decided it's just enough pattern instead of my straight socks that I've been doing. It's a little bit of a pattern. Nothing too crazy. It's not going to compete with the yarn, with this beautiful coloring. Now, what I will tell you I do with my toes And some people would probably think this is a little odd, but I like to reinforce the toe. So what I do is I always do my socks toe up. I make the tail longer and knit my tail as together with my starting yarn. And I go back and forth until the tail's gone. One, it works the tail in, and I don't have to worry about it. It's, hidden way inside. Two, it really reinforces this toe, I think. You can feel that's a bit thicker right there, but I like that. The one thing I have, I don't know if these ones are like that or not. These are another pair I made quite a while ago, and I think these have actually done pretty good. No, these are fine. I have a couple pairs of socks that I've done. These are well loved. But I have a couple pairs of socks that I've done, and I wear out this part really quick. I think part of it's because of the type of floors we have in our house. So I wear out the kind of the pad of my socks really easy. Now again, I think it's probably had something to do with the yarn I was using at the time. Probably wasn't the best. I was kind of learning the beginning. These ones have held up very well. They're short. I usually do short socks. These ones I think I'm going to do longer. But these have held up very, very well. Again, these are a fairly early start of my sock knitting. I think these were like a knit pick. So this have held up very well. I've just had a couple that haven't. So I keep thinking, I think these will hold up. This will hold up very well, but oh, I just had a thought about something. Oh, man. Anyway, I'll have to worry about that later. I was just thinking about the pattern is going to be on the bottom of my foot. I maybe should have done flat for the back and the design just on the top until I got to the ankle. We'll have to see. Anyway, back onto my what I was talking about. So that's one thing I'll just have to think of is doing about reinforcing somehow. Probably just leave it. But anyway, that's what I'm working. Like I said, it's a woolen homestead. My favorite color is October. I think she's doing a cowl a cowl knit along right now. For favorite color is October, but I'm not sure how long that goes. Go into our Ravelry group, the Woolen Homestead, and you can check it out. I'm sure it's probably end of October is when it'll be done, I'm assuming. But anyway. So yeah, so that's in this little bag. Like I said, I found it at like a resale. And I knew it was for yarn. So I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I think that's the only two I'm going to show you for now. I'm just looking at what I have. That's the only two, and then 3 finished objects, and the 2 I'm working on. Now, I have a few that I want to work on. Oh, I didn't bring... It's not over there either. I have another one I'm working on, and I don't know where I put it. Another thing I'm working on is... there's this blue sweater of mine. I'll go into it a little bit, but then I'll have to show you it next time because I think it's actually over there behind my desk. It's a blue sweater that I loved. It was a blue sparkly sweater, store-bought. It was a store-bought. I loved the sweater. It was not fitting me as well as it used to. It was a little tight, not super tight, but just enough that I wasn't real comfortable in it anymore. It had a big cowl neck, and I've never been a fan of them. I have a couple sweaters with the cowl necks that I bought at stores, and it's the same thing. I wear them. They're not my favorite because I don't like that big collar. So anyway, this blue sweater, I was going through, I was getting rid of a bunch of stuff I don't wear anymore, and in doing that, I'm looking at these going, but I love, or this one sweater, I'm like, I love the color. I love this because I had a little bit of a sparkle in the yarn. Like, I love this color. I love the sparkle. It was comfortable when I would wear it, except I didn't like the collar. Comfortable in the way of the yarn felt good. So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to get rid of it. I hope this work turns out right. What I did is I actually sat there and took the sweater apart. Yeah, I took the sweater apart. I attached the yarn to my ball winder, wound it up, multiple balls of yarn. That was a labor of love, I have to say. That was quite an effort. But once I was done, and I did it, it was done, totally taken apart, all the balls wound, I said, okay, now I am going to find a pattern that I want to make using this yarn. I'm repurposing it. And I think I've heard of people doing this before, so I know I'm not the first one who's ever done this. But I'm like, I'm going to make something. Now, there was, I want to say, I'm trying to think of who it was. I want to say it was, oh, man. I'm trying to think of who it was. The podcast. Knitters League. I almost said Legacy Fiber Arts. I'm like, no. Both have an L in there, but no. Knitters League. Somebody had done it. I think that's who it was. Had done the sweater. I think. No. Sorry. Wrong one. That was a different one. This one I think I just found on my own as I was looking. Again, this is a free pattern, Classic Elite Yarns. So I am actually working on this in a repurposed yarn. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it turns out. I would really love it to reuse that yarn. I have another sweater, I actually saw it in here not too long ago, that if this works out, I might do it to that one as well. But we'll have to see how that works. Other than that, I have a lot of dream knitting. I want to make some little angels. I'm already thinking Christmas. I found this by Drops, these little angels. I haven't just fully decided if I'm going to make them or not. It's one of those I'd like to, but I have a couple ideas in mind, and like I said, that's for that's actually going to be for my son's teachers. Now that he had preschool, but that was a little different. So my son's teachers that he has, that I think I want to make those for, but I'll have to see. And the other thing, my son picks out things that he wants me to make him. And I had already made him one of these, and I haven't started this yet. So I guess could be like a dream knitting section. But I already made my son this one. So he's asked me to make that one. This is Belfry and Booyah by Susan Claudino. It's a paid for pattern, so I'm just going to show you the little guys. And I have a blue yarn that I had used on, oh no, I wasn't going to use that one. I was going to use a different one that has a little bit of a shine to it to make him. Now I stitched the eyes. I did that with his other ones. He's old enough that I don't have to, but I'll probably do it anyway. And then he can have his ghost to match his bat. He named his little bat. This one's called Belfry. He named his Bells. I don't remember why, but he named his bat Bells. So I am going to make Booyah next. It shouldn't take me long. I keep saying I just need to start it, but amongst all the other things that I've started and everything else that I have going on, work and design wise, I haven't started it yet. So that I will have to do. And yeah, I think that's all I can think of to talk about right now. And as I get into more of a routine of podcasting, I don't know how, I'm kind of on a every other week, maybe I'll try to do a podcast because it gives me time to work on a few things. Next time I'll probably show you my card knitting socks that I'm working on. They're Arnie and Carlos Perfect cotton socks. I have finished one. I'm trying a new heel. I'm doing the afterthought heel. So we'll see how that goes. Because being card knitting, I knit on it only when I'm in the car waiting for to pick my son up from school. So I'm in the line. You have to get in line all really early. So anyway, as I do that, or as I'm sitting there waiting for him, I knit on these. So they're currently in my car. But I ran into a little issue. I know somebody said you're supposed to do from cuff down. I'm doing from toe up. It's kind of how I am. Can't help it. It's just how I am. Anyway, so I did toe up. And when I started the toe, I got about this far, and all of a sudden that yellow yarn that you're supposed to cut off showed up again. So I was a little bugged by that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep going. Let's see what happens. So I kept going. Finished the whole tube of the sock of one. It was getting really long. As you can see, as I showed you here, I usually do kind of shorties. I'm not a huge fan of real long socks, tall socks. So I stopped at a certain point, and it's pretty long. It's pretty long. So I stopped at a certain point, and then I started the next one. I've gotten to, I think I'm about the heel. Now I have noticed they're not lining up exactly. They're a little bit off, and I think it's that yellow stripe that wasn't supposed to be there affected it. So I'm kind of I should put my yarn in for where my heel's going to go, but they're going to be slightly off. So I'll have to think about that one. So anyway, I'll show you that one next time as I'm talking about it and I don't have it on me. But I'll show you that one next time. I'll make a note to myself to make sure I bring those in from outside. And yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I don't have any acquisitions. I actually plan on going to I'm trying to remember what it was called. It's a fiber festival. It's not Midwest. It's a fiber festival that's happening in Michigan at the end of the month. I think it's the 27th. And I'm planning on going there. My mom's going to come with me. So yeah, so I'll be doing that. I hopefully will be podcasting before then. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'll do every week. Might be every other week, but being my first back podcast, which I only had done a few in the past. But I think I'll end this here. I want to thank you for being here, for visiting me for my first podcast. I'll say this is my first podcast. I didn't do enough of the other ones. Yeah, so thank you for joining me. I hope to see you again. Give it a like if you like it. Follow me, and follow me on Instagram as AVI Designs. And I will talk to everybody soon. Have a great time knitting. Bye, everyone.